Time to get some local history into your ears. We do that with History Out There, and Harold Peacock is today going to tell us the tale of the Toowoomba constable's wife who let 3 prisoners escape. Shock, horror, scandal. Harold, how are you, mate?
I'm very well, and I'm excited to tell you about Dalby's Fowl affair, and quite a story it is.
Oh, a foul affair, as in Fowl?
Yes, and all that, but it revolves around a fowl.
Oh.
And it had quite a following in the papers in Dalby back in the day.
Well, mate, tell us the story.
Yeah, look, it was in 1866. Now, when Constable Alan MacDonald was stationed in Toowoomba, he refused a bribe to let a prisoner escape. Then 3 prisoners escaped when he left his wife in charge of the lockup. Now, the couple were banished to manage the Dalby lockup instead, and in 1866, that's when the constable's wife was a key witness in Dalby's great Fowl affair. And this year, of course, is the 160th anniversary. Now, at about 8 o'clock at night on Wednesday, the 27th of August, 1866, William Farraher and his wife Margaret were sitting in their hut when they were disturbed by their dog's bark and a goat bleating. They heard footsteps outside, and one of their fowls screeched. Now, on going outside, Farraher saw a very strange thing in the night. It was a woman about 30 yards away, running along as fast as she could with a goat tied by a long string. Now, the woman was Mrs. Henrietta Miles. She was a native of Dartmouth, England, and just a year earlier, in 1865, had arrived in Queensland with her husband on the ship Young Australia. Now, the Young Australia was a really popular immigrant clipper ship that would make 9 voyages from England to Moreton Bay between 1862 and 1870. The last voyage was most definitely cursed. See, one passenger was running from debts of £10,000, which is $15 million today. Others broke a leg during the voyage, arrived and fell off the wall at the commissariat store, broke an elbow, shot themselves in the foot, cleared of embezzlement but committed to an asylum, took their fiancée to court for breach of promise, and 2 died on the same year that the Young Australia ran onto rocks off Cape Morton and sank.
Wow.
And then 5 more promptly died from one family, from paralysis of the heart, congestion of the brain, sunstroke, and 2 drowned in the Mary River at Gympie. This was the ship that brought out our Mrs. Miles, who was the woman with the goat. Now, when Farraher saw Mrs. Miles, he called out. She stopped and dropped the fowl. The pair began having words and came to blows. Mrs. Miles was knocked to the ground. That's when the neighbour, Edward Johnson, came out and saw Farraher and Mrs. Miles scolding each other. Now, Johnson would later be charged with illegal possession of a sheep, but I won't go there. When he gave evidence about the Fowl affair, he refused to kiss the Bible, which was a custom for swearing in back then, but he licked it instead. Anyway, on the night of the Fowl affair, Mrs. Miles and her goat finally retired to the hut, which was about 200 yards away. She then returned with a Mrs. Edgar, who was living with her and whose husband was a drunk and perversely the suspected molester of Farraher's daughter.
Oh.
Anyway, after having more words, Farraher allegedly kicked Mrs. Miles a number of times. Mrs. Joanna MacDonald, she was brought in. She was the wife of the constable in charge of the lockup. That's when she was brought in and shown the injuries, and she would later provide this critical evidence in court. Now, the upshot of it all was that the judge decided that it was highly unlikely that a thief would go looking for fowls and go out in the bright moonlight and take a goat with her. And so he dismissed the case against Mrs. Miles.
Right.
Yeah, and then the judge then admonished the 6-foot-tall Farraher for striking and kicking a little woman with a goat, convicted him of assault and fined him £10. Now, Mrs. Henrietta Miles and her husband William moved to Bundaberg, where the drama of the Dalby Fowl affair haunted them. You see, Mrs. Miles, in consequence of her excessive use of liquor and injuries endangering her health, and her husband for also misspending and wasting their estate, were both banned from being anywhere near alcohol for 12 months.
Mm.
And meanwhile, the prime witness of the Fowl affair, the lock-up keeper's wife, Mrs. MacDonald, she lived out a long life in Dalby. So the answer is, don't go looking for chooks in the middle of the night with your goat, because the goat will always give you away.
Those goats. Now listen, mate, we're going to put part 1 and part 2 together, and you'll put the entire story up on your website.
Absolutely. You can find history out there on any of the socials and Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and like you say, my website, historyouthere.com. This whole story will be there on Friday.
Oh, I look forward to it. And of course, you've got how many stories up there from the Darling Downs region?
Oh, gee, I think it's about 93 or 90. You're 95 now from the Darling Downs, I've told about.
Wow.
There's a lot there. So it's coming up to our centenary almost.
Mate, that is going to be a huge milestone. We may have to do another in-studio for that milestone.
Yeah, I might have to do that to avoid the 2-part drama of today.
Well, mate, look, have a wonderful Easter, which is just around the corner. Do you partake in a few Easter eggs?
Yes, I do. I've got them stocked up because you've got to buy them before the price rises these days. So I've got 1 or 2 put away.
I know. You virtually have to take out a mortgage to get some Easter eggs these days.
Yeah, a bit of shrinkflation. They are a bit smaller than normal, but that's all right.
Well, yeah, I've noticed that too, and I'm a bit disappointed. They get more expensive, but they get smaller in size.
Yes, but it's the taste that counts, isn't it?
Well, that's true. Yes, that is true. So we just got to find the cost-effective eggs.
Yeah, I never know. I might have an Easter history story next week. You never know.
Okay, looking forward to it. All right, historyouthere.com is where you need to go and check out that story and 94 of the other stories that we've told on this program. And, mate, you have a great Easter. We'll look forward to catching up again next week.
See you then.